What's up, all my folks out in YouTube land? We're here to celebrate the tradesmen, man. You know, this is the Labor Day season. It's a Labor Day season, it's not just a day. We're gonna celebrate it for a whole season. And me, as a person who works in the trades, that's what I wanna talk about. I wanna talk about the trades. I get a lot of people who ask me, is it something they should get into? What's the environment like? Just the whole thing. And I don't know. I'm not gonna say people online are fronting, or making it sound like it's way better than it is. But there are pros and cons to being in the trades. I'm not gonna sell you a dream that it's all lovely, but there are some great aspects to it too. So we're gonna go over pros and cons of being in the trades. No particular order, you know how I do. This is just a list, man. We're just gonna go over a few things. So we're gonna start with the cons. So let's go. So first things first, the first con we're gonna discuss is weather. And look, I know this all relative. It all depends on what you do. But for anybody who has to work outside, which is a lot of guys in the trades, you got to work outside, or you're working in buildings that have no heat, that have no AC. You're working in hot places, right? You're working in crawl spaces, which is crazy enough. A lot of times when it's hot outside is the best place to be in. And in the summer, you know, you're in attics, you're on the roof. I mean, you see those guys on the roof, man. It seems like no matter, it's just crazy to me. It seems like no matter how much I'm complaining or something that's hot, and I'm burning up, no matter what, as soon as I say I'm hot and I'm burning up, I drive and I see somebody on the roof. Like every time. It doesn't matter, every time is what happens. So are you that type that is affected by weather? It doesn't matter. You think about it, it don't matter how cold it is. It doesn't matter if it's snowing. It doesn't matter if it's raining. Repairs don't care about your feelings. They don't care nothing about your feelings. So are you willing to get out there and do what needs to be done regardless of the weather? The second con is a lot of times location. And what I mean is, a lot of times you're working in somebody's houses who live there. So it's a lot of care and delicacy that, goes into working in somebody's house. Or you're, in this case, you might be on a large job site where it's something big is being built, but you're surrounded by all different types of contractors from different fields, and y'all are stepping over each other. There's no real, it's almost a chaotic scene. You might not always be in the most safe environments where you gotta make sure those tools are locked down. You gotta make sure everything is right. You're not always in the cleanest environment. Sometimes, I hate to say, you gotta say it, but sometimes people are messy, right? And you go in people's houses and it's kind of filthy, you know what I'm saying? Or you go certain places and they're kind of filthy. You're working in attics, when sometimes the attics are small. Every attic is not wide open where you're just walking through it and some attics, the truss system is crazy and you're climbing over these trusses. There's no place to set your feet. This low attics where it's just not a lot of space to move around. You're in those all the time. Crawl spaces, they vary. Matter of fact, let me give you an idea of, what you might run into with a crawl space situation. All right, here's the thing about this crawl space cover. With this many locks on it, I'm not sure if they're trying to keep something out or they're trying to lock something in. You know what I'm saying? This means that what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to send you in first. All right, I'm gonna send y'all in first. I'm not going in there first, man. I don't know what's been down there. This house is from like the 70s. Like something done set up shop down there. I don't know how many years. So, I don't know, man. I'm sending you in first. I'm not doing it. All right, well, whether you're ready to go or not, I'm sending you in. So let me know what you see.
I'm free.
Now, I hope you don't run into anything like that in your crawl spaces, but you never know. Now, the next con, kind of tie into the last one where, I talked about attics, crawl spaces and all that, just different environments, is cleanliness. Sometimes you're just gonna get dirty. Some jobs you're gonna get dirty every day. It just all depends on what it is, and it's just how it goes. And you can't feel a certain kind of way about it. I knew there were guys that I've talked to that have said that just walking around being dirty, they had an issue with it. And it's just like, why? What is the problem with it? Like, I don't understand. Yeah, you don't have to get in that crawl space. It might be a muddy day. Or you might be like me. When you do tile, you get thin set everywhere. It's like you just can't help it. I don't know. I don't know why. I see some guys that go and paint a house and man, hardly have something on them. I go paint and I mess around and look on my back and I have paint on my back. Like, how did that happen? But it's just how it goes. Like, you're gonna get messy no matter what you do. And you just gotta embrace it, man. I said before, I get drywall dust on me. I just walk around looking like money. But, hey, getting dirty is just part of the game. Now, here's a big one. Here's a big one for a lot of guys, and it's risk. You will have to take risks or things that you consider risky. Now, I remember getting up on giant ladders, and this is something that I don't do anymore, right? I used to get on roofs, ladders, the whole nine. I remember getting on these giant ladders, and I didn't even think twice about it. We didn't get trained. There was no ocean, nothing. You got this, Victorian house that you got to drill holes in today and do a drill and fill back when I was an insulator. So we need the big boy ladder. We call it a 3-story ladder. So you get the giant ladder out, and that'll get you there. And that's just what you did. You're going with the gutter crews today. All right, getting the gutter crews. We're all working on these super tall buildings, and everybody got these gigantic ladders. It just is what it is. On commercial jobs, you might be up a little high. Man, like industrial jobs, you could be way up there. I've been on, I remember working at the colleges when I was on a scissor lift, like 50 feet up. It's just part of the job, and didn't think nothing of it. But you just got to know that. Yes, when you use that saw every day, you got to be careful because there's a risk you could cut yourself. Yep, when you mess with the electric, there's always a risk you could get a little bit of a shock. Right? There's just risk in everything. And the thing is that nowadays, I think, more places try to make sure that safety protocols are followed and whatever it is. But it's just understand that some stuff, it don't matter how much safety it is. It's like you can't prevent everything. So what the best thing you could do is go into it knowing that. But yes, you got to know if you can deal with heights, if you can deal with tight spaces, like the whole nine. You got to know if you can deal with that. Now this next one is a con, and it goes more to when you're working with a big group, right? In the trades, it's just a different environment sometimes, right? People making fun of each other, this and that. Sometimes it can be a good thing. Sometimes people take it a little too far. Sometimes there will be people you don't like. There's a mean old curmudgeon, a grumpy guy that he's just mean to you all the time. And he doesn't share any information. He's gatekeeping. It's just there are gonna be certain people that you might not get along with. I mean, some jobs, depending on how desperate they are and how bad they need people, they'll take people from anywhere. So I used to work at a job where it was the first job that I ever heard a dude say he was gonna cut the supervisor. Like, they were arguing, and he was like, "I'll cut you." And the dude said, "Well, then bring it then." Like the supervisor that was in the office, they're arguing through the window, or the window was open. And then he's like, "Yo, well, bring it then." And the supervisor, he had a whole record. He was about that life too. I was sitting there like, what's going on here? But it was just natural, and the dude just came back to work the next day. And they just moved on like nothing happened. Crazy. I've seen a lot of that where people arguing and stuff like that. I've seen superintendents on job sites. I had a guy I was working with, him and the superintendent got into it in a parking lot, and we ended up leaving. And the superintendent was literally walking behind him, like trying to fight this guy. And it was like, what is this environment, right? I don't know if it's still like that. Hopefully nowadays, people, businesses have more of a check on that with their crews and within their company, that, you hire people that they feel like they're coming into a safe environment that they can thrive and they can grow in. It was just so much different because when I worked in the trades, I was coming from working in the office. And it was the office is the total opposite, where everybody tries to be on their P's and Q's, and they all front around each other all day. They act like they just love each other all day, and it couldn't be the furthest thing from the truth. The trades, where if I don't like you, I might just break you down one day. I don't know. It's been a long time since I've been actually working with other people within the trades, so maybe the environment has changed. Maybe it's changed drastically. I don't know. But just make sure that the environment of the place that you go, if you're going to go do this, make sure the environment is right. All right, the last con I'm gonna cover is the body use, like the use of your body, like the idea that you are doing physical labor, and there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with it. But some jobs will strain your body more than others. I was very fortunate that, I told you, when I was an insulator, I was like 21, 21, 22. I did it for a few years, but I was really young. And I used to see guys that were like 35. They were like 35 was the old guy, like in the place. And these guys would be like, man, I remember going and doing a crawl space with somebody, and then the next day it was like, man, my whole body hurts. And I was like, goodness. Like, well, you're only 35, dude. You still got like 30 more years to work. What are you gonna do? I already knew I can't do this forever. People used to ask me how it was because, it's like, how's the money? How do you get paid? And I'm like, well, you get paid by the square footage, and it's tough because since you get paid by the square footage, you have to move. I was like, imagine you're almost like you're playing a basketball game for, 7 hours a day, not like, not for an hour. I was like, that's crazy, right? That would be crazy. But that's almost like what you're doing in some of these jobs where you have to get it. You have to get it. The other jobs, you got a lot of heavy lifting where you're crawling all the time, where you're, holding things over your head all day. You are using your body. Make no mistake about that. Don't let anybody tell you any different. You are. Your hands, you're using your hands all the time. And, some people start getting hand cramps and issues like that. Like, make no mistake about it. You are wearing your body down by constantly doing this kind of work. It just is what it is. Man, now that we got through that, let's talk about the good parts, man, the pros. The first pro I got, and the crazy thing is that a lot of things that I told you that were cons, it might be a pro for you. There are a lot of the cons that, they look like cons for some people, and for some people, the pros. Like the first thing for me is being outside. I talked about the weather and issues like that. Well, for me though, it's freedom, right? I love being out, being free, not being trapped inside of a building all day, right? I get it. There's AC in the building and all that. But man, I had cubicles and I had been in little offices and I've been in all sorts of environments where I just don't want to be there. I've been in call centers, just inside. You feel like you're trapped in this box. And just the fact that you can move around just, outside and just, you're in the fresh air. It's beautiful as far as I'm concerned. And I know a lot of y'all the same way, where if you had to sit in that office, man, you would collapse. I mean, you'd rather be under the house with the troll, you know what I mean? Hanging out with him than be stuck in that office. So that freedom, man, freedom of just being outside, being in open, even just driving. People talk about window time and things of that nature. And I agree. You don't want to be, because it's a thing about money, especially if you own the business. Like, you don't want to be spending all your time driving back and forth to these jobs. But there is something, man, to be during the day, the windows open, you're driving, and just like, it's just that freedom of just being out in the open air instead of being trapped in the building. The second one I said before on the cons list was locations. Now, I'm going right back to that, but except it's on the pro list this time, because you get different environments, different locations. You get to go here, go there. That's one of the things that I loved when I was back insulating. It's one of the things I love now, is that every day, let me not say every day. Most times I'm going to a new job and to a new environment. There are jobs that I'll be at the most, I might be somewhere for a week, maybe a week and a half. Then I'm off to the next one. But it's constantly going to be a new environment. And it's just great. It's just not seeing the same thing every day. It's always good in my opinion. The next one for me it's a pretty big pro, pretty big in the pros, and it's creativity. And it kind of ties to the one after that, but we'll go into that. But creativity, like, how many jobs do you really get to be creative? There are jobs where you do a job and you might be good at doing your job, but most jobs you don't get to be creative, where you walk in and there's a problem and you figure out how to fix it, right? There's no book, there's no textbook to show you in this situation, do this, like every time. But it's not just for repairs, it's for installs, it's for new things. I mean, people want different designs and they come up with ideas. And there's so many jobs that I've had where somebody's had an idea in their mind and they showed me a picture, like, look at this thing, man. Like, I mean, is there a way we can do something like this? And we talk about it, walk around, I write some stuff down, take some measurements, and are able to just come up with something that everybody's in love with. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I don't want to say there's nothing like it. I mean, there's things like it. You know what I mean? There's people who design stuff and do stuff all the time, but it's not a common thing. Like, most of the people that aren't out here just designing things and bringing new things to life. So think about that, man. That's just like, I don't know, that's a big thing for me. And a big pro that's kind of tied to the creativity is the knowledge part. I mean, the knowledge that you're gaining, it's great for work and it's great for your career and everything else. But it is so useful outside of there. It's useful at your house, at somebody else's house. It's useful at your church or to help somebody who's struggling or whatever. You've developed the skill, but you're able to understand other people. You've seen enough other work and enough other things that you can kind of understand somebody else's skill. You might not be able to fully do their job, but you can understand what they're doing to the point where you can take all this knowledge and apply it into the real world. You become an extremely, valued member of your local community. And, doesn't mean you have to go and fix everything for everybody. That'd be crazy. They gotta pay you for something. But I'm just saying, there's a lot of people out there who need the help or who need things in your community, and you just become a part of that. Or even if you don't do that, like I said, something happens at your own house, something happens at your parents' house, something happens where your kids come up and you start teaching them stuff. It's the information that you can pass on that people can actually use every day. You might not know how valuable that is, but it is. Another huge pro about working in the trades is the potential to eventually go solo, right? I mean, that's realistically, when people say you can make a lot of money in the trades, people talk about, becoming a plumber, becoming an electrician, HVAC or whatever. You can make good money. And there's certain areas where you can make six figures. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. It's just some people that sell it to you like every plumber out there is making six figures or every electrician's making six figures. It's not the case. It's just not the case. It's not reality. Most of the people that are working for themselves. And if you work for yourself, you could absolutely make that kind of money. There's a lot more to it. But for me, it's the potential to go that way. Like, you might never do it. But you always have that option. What a lot of guys will do is they'll just work the job and then do side jobs. Like, you have the ability, you have a skill that you can take and people will pay you money directly for. It's a big thing. Like, I mean, just think about it. You got something like you work at a grocery store, you're the manager. Like, how likely is it you're gonna be able to go open your own grocery store? You know what I'm saying? And there's just a lot of things like that. There's a lot of jobs. You work in a call center. You're going to be able to go open your own call center. A lot of times these things aren't possible, but take me for instance. I was able to start a business. I'm a home repair mercenary. You know what I mean? Like, and that's just what it is. Like, you can do that in this field. Like I said, you got to be a go-getter because you got to go get those jobs. But it's definitely something you can do. It's not as hard as it is in other fields to like where you got to have all this money backing you. You can do it if that's what you choose to do, and then you can really make some money. This last pro is probably the biggest one for me. Like, money's good, but it's probably bigger than that, and it's fulfillment. I've said it before that one of my guys, Bob Proctor, he had a quote one time, or I don't know, he's called a quote or whatever, but one time he said that work was made for us. We weren't made for work. And it just hit me differently because, of course, work was made for us. It's something that we were given that human beings need to just like feel fulfilled with the work that they're doing. Now, there's all sorts of different kinds of work that there is to be done. So I don't want to say that if you're not building, you're not working. No. Or you got to be, out here toiling and all that to be working. No, work is different. There's all sorts of different work for different people and different ways that people get fulfilled. Some people just want to build huge businesses and that's fulfilling for them, right? They're not actually out there with their hands getting dirty. But then other people like me, I'm that guy. I'm that guy who loves to find a problem and be able to solve it all from here, right? All sorts of solutions to problems that, I don't know, like that people can't figure out, that they've had a bunch of people out to fix it. And then here you go, little old me. Little old me. I go out there and figure it out and get the job done. And I leave. And man, I've just left the happiest people on earth because their problem they've had sometimes for years was finally fixed. It's just like I said, it's just fulfilling, man. And then I see people at the gas station, customers that just, I haven't seen them in 2 years. They're walking up, some of them I don't even recognize them, you know, because it's been so long. I see so many people. They're like, oh man, how you doing? You know, give me a high five and say, oh, I moved to a new house. And man, I got a whole bunch of projects, man. I'll be calling you. And they're just happy to see you. It's just like, man, that they felt so good about stuff you did for them. That's just, I don't know, man. They felt so good. And not only that, they work, man. They took their hard-earned money. I respect anybody. I don't care what they do. They go out there and they work and they take their hard-earned money and they give it to you. They give it to you because they appreciate what you're about to do. There's an expectation, but man, you gotta make it worth it. And for me, both sides of the transaction, like for me to be on that side of the transaction, yes, I'll accept that as your gesture for me to get out here and do the best that I can. And they trust me to get the job done. Man, I love it, man. I love it to leave feeling like you actually accomplished something every day. Because I've had jobs where I was part of huge projects and everything, but I felt like I didn't feel any connection to them. None. I was in the office, I'm doing this, and it's like, oh yeah, all the people that contributed to this project, here's your name on the list. Matter of fact, oh yeah, here goes a plaque, here goes an award for it. I didn't feel nothing. I was like, yeah, I did something, but man, these direct conversations and working with people and solving their problems, for me, man, I love it, man. I think you could work in the trades. I think there's a lot of pros, and I really think the pros outweigh the cons. You know, for me, yeah, it might be a little hot and it might be a little sweaty and the job situation might be comfortable, and even there's gonna be times where you're not even gonna like the job that you have to do. You're tired of digging, you're tired of this and that. But man, at the end, ain't nothing like it. There's nothing like it. Shout out to all the people out here in the trades getting it done every day. Daryl, also known as the Finisher, stay safe, be blessed, and remember, if the trades don't work, nothing else does.